The struggle continues for Gordon Hayward, but does this mean that it's time for Brad Stevens to make a change? This segment is powered by Robinhood. Head over to GardnerReport.Robinhood where you can get a free stock like Apple, Sprint, or Ford. That's GardnerReport.Robinhood.com. Get yourself signed up today. Gentlemen, I know we keep talking about Gordon Hayward. We keep talking about the struggles, but do you think that it's time for Brad Stevens to maybe switch up the starting five, maybe have him come off the bench? Could that help him push things along here? Goodman, let's start with you.
You know, I think it could help Gordon, but I don't want to mess with Marcus Morris right now.
Yeah.
You know, and that's part of the problem right now is if you start making moves, listen, Gordon's going to be fine. It's going to take a while, and that's what people are going to have to realize. It might take 40 games. It might take the whole year until he starts to feel like himself again. So if I'm Brad Stevens, I stick with him. I show confidence in him until it gets to a point where maybe you're not winning and you have to make a move.
That's the question at this point. Is he hurting the team?
I mean, listen, he's not helping the team a ton. You know, I had one player in the Pistons locker room tell me, like, he doesn't look like himself. He's not moving well laterally. He's not aggressive. He's not assertive. He doesn't have that pop to him right now. But again, they're still winning.
Yeah.
I mean, I think that's the overall picture here. I mean, the Celtics are still winning. We didn't see him at the end of the game against the Pistons, but he did clock in 25 minutes, 3 for 10, 6 points.
Yeah,
Bit of a setback compared to his last game, right? I mean, he was in double figures, very efficient, got to the hoop. Got to the hoop, you know, Tuesday night as well, but we're just not seeing that sort of consistency that we were used to seeing from
That's
Gordon
the thing.
Hayward.
You can't piece two games together.
Right.
And on top of that, he seems to be very, very, very hesitant driving to the basket, except on the baselines. Granum mentioned that in the press box. On the baselines, he seems to be.
There's no gear.
Well.
There's no gear there, and
Yeah.
not like Gordon had a huge gear before, but he was athletic, and you're not really seeing that right now. But again, I don't think you mess with his confidence, and I think even if you put him on the bench, it's not like people kind of are going to view him the same way. They're still going to look at his numbers, his effectiveness, whether he's starting or coming off the bench.
Yeah, I just think if the overall result is still, you know, it's still wins coming out of it,
that's the case.
Then you just keep things the way they are. I mean, you see the way Marcus Morris is doing off the bench. Why shake the boat? And obviously other guys off the bench are doing their thing as well. So, I mean, once you put someone into the starting five, you bump him out. At what point do you make that switch again? Does Gordon Hayward become the bench player for the season? I just think it's way too early to make that kind of change.
And the point is really, it's well taken. You don't want to goof with Marcus Morris right now because he's arguably the best player on the team. He's playing the best consistently. Yeah,
correct.
Without
Andre
question.
Drummond told me that. Yeah. He said that tonight after the game. He said, you know, Marcus played with Detroit, obviously,
right.
and Andre, and he said, you know, I'm happy for him. He's playing great. He's been their best player so far.
The difference, too, is, and you were around last year, he came in late.
Yeah.
He was out of shape, clearly, and he was unhappy with his role coming off the bench. This year, he's embracing coming off the bench. He's embracing the culture, and he's almost he's loosening up a very intense locker room.
And that's the flexibility you get for this type of team, right? I mean, you're able to plug in a guy like Marcus Morris when Gordon Hayward is not feeling it. You're able to plug in a guy like Marcus Smart when you need more on the defensive end at the end of games. So, I mean, Brad Stevens is the type of guy that doesn't really consider or doesn't take who starts so seriously in comparison to other coaches.
It's about who But the players still do. I don't care what anybody says.
But
from a pride standpoint, most of them do.
But
I guess on this team, I think everybody knows they're going to get their turn.
Right.
And nobody's playing, you know, 82 games here. I mean, they're just not. I mean, you know, I think even, you know, Gordon Hayward probably – I think the only way he comes off the bench, I think, is if Gordon Hayward goes to Brad Stevens and says, you know what,
I think
it's best for the team. Bring me off the bench. Marcus deserves it. And I wouldn't put it past them for doing that.
I wouldn't either. And maybe that is what he needs to get himself back into it. But right now, I mean, it's still technically October. Let's just pump the brakes a bit. Let's settle down a bit. But let us know what you think. Hit us up in the comment section as usual. YouTube, Gardner Report, CLNS Media. Should Gordon Hayward remain in the starting five or should he start coming off the bench? What do you think?